Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope everybody is having a great day. Let's talk about C3.AI because the stock is up nearly 5% on the day, up over $40 at $44.12. We're going to be talking about what this possibly means. Will C3 possibly be reapproaching that $50 price target, or will we see a little bit of a pullback, testing support back in the 40s? Lots of things to discuss. We do have a great article by Seeking Alpha that just came out about 30 minutes ago, really showing some great charts on the path to profitability and also the diversity within the company in terms of the client base that they are working with. Now, client base is really important when it comes to some of these tech companies as you do start to build a reputation. We saw this yesterday with PLTR, Palantir, working very well and having a lot of confidence. That stock shot up nearly 10%. So if you didn't see that, make sure you check out that video. Hit that like button for the algorithm. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. And subscribe for daily videos. Let's pop it up on the screen for you right here. C3.AI, like I said, trading good today. We can see popping up at 44.21. Where we see right now with the market cap is sitting at about that 5.11 billion. The fact that C3.AI has now crossed that $5 billion market cap shows a lot of confidence and people taking a bet on its future. Now, especially with these graphs that we're going to be showing here in just a few moments, talking about their clear path to profitability, the question is that a realistic approach? Now, C3.AI has faced some criticisms. We're going to be talking about that too. Of course, not everything goes up. We'd like to acknowledge everything on this channel, really looking at the key fundamentals of this AI application stock. So talking about right now, trading volume is looking pretty high, up over nearly double yesterday. It was at about 11 million yesterday. Right now, it's already at 20.99 million. So let's pop it up, talk about this, looking at some confidence coming in here. Where will C3.AI close here in the near future, and is it going to hold? Now, like I said, Seeking Alpha did a great synopsis here talking about the actual company and the fundamentals behind it. Now, if you don't know what C3.AI is, ticker symbol AI, it's a trending AI stocks that deploys many different AI applications. One thing is this is a smaller company that is facing a lot of competition against some of the big head honchos out there. We're talking Amazon, we're talking Google, we're talking Microsoft that are all investing millions upon millions of dollars into their own AI applications. So we need to take that with a grain of salt. Also understands that you do have some of the big boys in the game, the top players, they are competing, and C3.AI has to compete against that. How do they offer a more attractive product for potential clients, for potential investors to come in and to believe in the C3.AI applications that are being sold? Now, with the company overview, this is founded here in 2015. It's a newer company, not even 10 years old yet. One thing that they are working on, and I wanted to zoom in on here, is their booking diversity by industry. Now, this is good right here because the types of relationships that they've already compromised, this is basically over 60% of their revenue in last year. Now, these are a concrete customer base. And why this is great for some companies to have a concrete customer base is because you can kind of have a reliability and accurate prediction on the revenue that is coming from those specific clients. And they also help you gain reputation. If you have working with big clients, other potential investors that want to utilize your AI softwares, they say, hey, look at, if this big company is working with them, then they must be credible. It gives you a sense of credibility when looking into these, and especially with competing with some of the other head honchos like we mentioned before. One thing that we are seeing with C3.AI is their booking diversity by industry. As you can see here, they had a large involvement with the oil and gas industry, a little bit of agriculture, telecommunications. You can see a little bit of a breakdown here, but becoming more diverse in fiscal year of 2022. And this is great because they're basically diversifying their client base. That way, if you don't have the oil and gas industry, not being so reliant on one industry, if they were to back out and all of a sudden you had this teeter and domino effect, you could see a large decrease in the revenue for these type of tech companies. So the fact that they have a diversity expanding the different client industries that are being involved with C3.AI does give them a bullish outlook from that perspective. Now, this does lead me into that finding profitability and strengthening relationships. As they do build relationships, they do have a clear path to probability they do lay out right here. because right now they are not profitable. They did have year over year in 2022, $266 million of revenue, and that was, or in 2023, excuse me, compared to $252 million in 2022. So up about 10 million. We're going to be showing you some of their predictions and metrics here in just a few moments. But right now, with the current path, their current operating margin is at negative 29%. Now, they do have an initial target operating margins of profit of 2% from fiscal year of 2024 to 2025. This is their approximate and their prediction. We'll see really here, especially with earnings that are expected to be released by the end of the month. They did beat their last quarter expectations. Will that continue? If it does, we could see a lot of bullishness and confidence coming into C3.AI, of course, causing the stock price to go higher. But let's talk about their clear path to profitability and the things that they are working on. Now, Seeking Alpha posts out this great bar chart right here, basically showing the breakdown on the changes that C3.AI is going to make. Now, marketing, they do say here from 29%, they're going to cut that down, reduce their brand investments down to 11%. Also working on continuous investment in sales capacity by just making more money, basically producing more sales. They say here 23 to 26%. Another big thing that they're reducing costs is research and development. And this is why a lot of these kind of newer tech companies they're not profitable for a long time. And that's because the amount of money that they have going into the company that's being reinvested, trying to grow. The research and development they're predicting is going to be reduced from 44% down to 28%. Now, this could be a large cost savings in their operations and could make a big change and possibly push them and transition them from being not profitable to that path of profitability margin, that 2% that they're looking for. Now, looking at their financials and what they do predict for their future fiscal years, I think is important to also note. Now, their revenue estimates for the current fiscal year is sitting here at 305 million. I think as they do transition to this new path of profitability that they're looking for is that 370 million. That's going to be for the next fiscal year. And they're predicting to 479, nearly 500 million by the end of the next 2 fiscal years ahead. Now, interesting to see there, and one thing that's really important is the valuation that's behind C3.AI right now. Now, they do have good metrics and they do have good charts laying out and how they're going to foresee their future, especially with their consumer-based model that did change. Remember, C3.AI, they actually went from a subscription-based model that kind of had a flat fee to a consumer-based model. So the more you utilize their services, the more you have to pay. This can allow more companies to utilize them in either a large quantity or a smaller quantity, which might help to that increase the diversity that we did see right here up here on this chart. They could utilize C3.AI just a little bit, but having some income and exposure from those companies rather than not having to pay a higher fee if they don't want to utilize them as often, and allowing smaller businesses to be incorporated does help improve that diversity. Now, one thing that we do want to talk about is something to keep in mind, and this is the actual overheating in the trending amount of C3.AI traction that the stock has right now. And the reason we're talking about that is because they're trading hands at 17 times their sales and 354 times their forward earnings. They say here, as prediction Motley Fool talks about, setting an impossibly high bar for chart supporting business results. What we're seeing here is the stock valuated too high to really back behind the fundamentals of the company, the revenue that's coming in, the actual price to earnings that we're seeing, and the fact that it's not even a profitable company yet. Is there too much of a valuation behind C3.AI? Now, interesting to see here, and C3.AI really has grown pretty quickly. You can see here just a few months ago, this is basically back here in January, C3.AI was at $17. So is this too high of a value right now, or is C3.AI really going to be a top competitor against some of these top honcho stocks? That's basically the big question that's up in the air right now, and is why we have the bulls versus the bears. However, right now we are seeing bullishness coming into C3.AI, and investors that are already in are probably happy. But in my opinion, looking is, if I was a new investor into C3.AI, I don't know if I'd be so gun-ho on throwing all my eggs in one basket, just considering that really high valuation and that very high price that it's trading at compared to its price to earnings right now. Now, this doesn't mean to completely throw C3.AI out the window, which I would, I'm not going to do that, keeping it on a watch list, making videos for you guys, but it does keep it on the pointer. What if C3.AI has a little bit of a correction here, get it at a little bit of a cheaper price, and they do continue to work towards that path of profitability that we talked about? Now, that could be more of a bullish sign in the future. Lots of things to discuss. Make sure you let me know. What do you think down in the comments? Hit that like button, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.